All right, I'll say greetings this evening. How are you? Oh, thank you very much. Allow me to begin this interaction with the entitlement. Believe it or not. Before I proceed, allow me to once again remind you all that we never do insist that you do believe within these interactions that we are who we say we are because we say it. We cannot prove it at this time. However, the principles, the mechanics, the physics, the ideas that we share with you can prove themselves, but only in action. They sound very nice to the ears, but the action, the doing, the willingness to incorporate them as an action within your life is the only way that I can guarantee the result. So therefore, the guarantee is in full swing, but not simply because we are saying it, but because you are willing, if it works for you, to use it. For again, anything we have to say is not better, even if it works for you, than anything else from our perspective, but we offer it, allowing you to choose freely, to utilize it at any time, and are thereby then willing to expand and discuss these ideas as you try them on, so to speak. Allow us to then proceed with the main topic, if you will, for the evening. That being, perhaps you can say, a slightly more in-depth discussion about what you label belief systems. Understand, we have again discussed many times that you are all creation. You are all sparks of the infinite creation itself, what you call God, what we call all that is. And all that is in and of itself a frequency, a wavelength, if you will. The primary frequency in the case of all that is. You are also frequency, perhaps you can say distortions, or shall we say, interpretations or filtered frequencies of the primary frequency. This is what creates you, in a sense, into physical being. The rate at which you vibrate, that is one of the ideas, that it creates your life around you. But also understand that we have discussed many times that your personality is composed of beliefs, emotions, and mentality. And this is what allows you to function and create your life in a particular way. Allow us this evening to elucidate a bit more clearly, a bit more precisely on the belief system leg of that prism. For understand that within the vibration, the frequency of all that is, and within the vibration of the signature vibration that you are your belief systems. And these too are vibratory frequencies. Vibratory frequencies in this case of awareness. But when you utilize those particular frequencies, there are always corresponding results depending on which frequency you choose. So therefore, perhaps you can say your primary belief in life is the primary frequency through which you are choosing to explore at this time. As we have also discussed, vibration attracts like vibration. So therefore, when you have an overall primary belief, it attracts, so to speak, around it many other peripheral beliefs that are also of similar vibration, though slightly out of phase with the primary belief vibration. What this does, the effect of it, these beliefs which aggregate around the primary belief, is to literally lay down a background over which the primary relief can then stand out in relief. In a sense, you can understand that the background reinforces the primary belief and allows it again, by comparison, to stand out. Now, chronologically speaking, because you are in a world of timing, you can say, for the purposes particularly of this discussion, that the primary belief vibration comes first, and that the aggregate beliefs, so to speak, lag behind, Or another way that we have sometimes shared this idea is that the primary belief is the originating sound, whereas the aggregate beliefs that allow it to stand out in relief are the echo. Now understand, when you change, truly change your primary belief, everything changes. As you say, across the board, everything changes. Sometimes at first, because of the way you create the idea of transforming a bit at a time, there will be a similarity in the new background as the old. Some things that allow you to have it seem to be continuous. But it is, truly speaking, so to speak, a different background altogether. We have also used this analogy. You have a cube that is painted many different colors on each side of the cube, if you will. There are two ways to look at changing the side or one side of the cube, painting it perhaps a different color. One way to look at it is that it's the same old cube with a slight facelift. One other way, however, to look at it is that it is now an entirely different cube by definition. So therefore, by extension, you can choose to look at the background in that same way. Either same background with a slight little change, or understand that the whole background, the whole echo, has changed. Now, we delineate this for the following reason. We find in your society, individuals will begin to initiate a change within themselves, begin to take certain steps toward modifying their primary belief frequency, but very often will, as you say in your language, trip themselves up and perhaps seem to cancel the effect of the change. And this occurs due to the following reason. When you change your primary belief and the accompanying background belief thereby, extension changes. If you understand that everything has changed, then you are no longer willing to look at the feedback that you get according to the old background, according to the echo itself. If in a sense you change your primary belief, but will only derive validation of change from the background, which again lags behind, is an echo, you then cancel out the change, for you do not validate the change in the primary belief. You validate the seeming, shall we say, consistency of the background. What this translates out to is as follows. You can simply understand, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that when you change that primary belief, the background has entirely transformed. Again, it may present similar faces, similar styles of presentation at first, but it is your willingness to look for the differences in the background that have you use the change in the primary frequency as your criteria rather than an old-seeming background. Is this translated? All right. Therefore, when you institute change in your primary belief and something seems to come up which seems on the surface to negate that change, understand that that is simply an interpretation using the old background. And if you feel in your heart of hearts that you have instituted a change and then see what seems to be an old effect, if you label it, here comes the old effect, you get that result. If you refuse to label it, here comes the old effect, because you know that the old effect was an echo of the old belief, you can then give yourself the opportunity to look at the changes rather than the consistency, and thereby validate the background or the echo changing as well. When you validate with the echo of the old belief, you re-center yourself to the old primary belief. When you refuse to do that, you midwife the new belief firmly into your reality. Now again, this takes most subtly the form of an action. For when you believe something, you always by extension act as if you believe it. So therefore, that is what creates the result in your life physically, being that you are physical beings exploring a physical world. So when you would seem to have made a change and see similar things happening, the action that is reflective of the change is not being willing to use the old background. Your willingness to even look at what some of the other ideas are and look at why it is different rather than the same is the action that, in a sense, demonstrates to the universe that you truly believe the new belief. So therefore, it is a matter of attitude. It is a matter of point of view, of perspective, and of a willingness to not settle for anything less than the beliefs you now wish to have. It is very simple to change beliefs, and we have discussed this many times, but only can you ever do so by first acknowledging the old, unpreferred belief as the belief that has served you up till now, validating that it has served you, even if the only reason that it serves you is to tell you you could use a new belief right now. So therefore, you can always find some service from it. And your willingness to simply refuse to allow evidence to provide you thinking that you did not change allows the change. For change is not something you can force or make. It is something that is automatic. It is the constant in creation. Change, in a sense, is one of the only constants. So therefore, allowing that constant is quite simple, quite effortless. Forcing something to change, in that sense, is a paradox. You cannot force something to change. And all the forcing may only make it seem to stay the same. So, the attitude of allowance is an open, releasing, allowing attitude, a very light attitude. And that can be quite helpful in allowing you to let go of the things you do not prefer. Again, understanding that you cannot get rid of it, but simply transform its relevance to you. Now, this is what occurs when you assume a belief system. You assume the primary belief. The background congregates around that belief. And then they form, in a sense, a type of glasses that you wear, in a sense, whereby you can now only see through that frequency. Therefore, you will only allow yourself to see things that are consistent with those beliefs. And when you change the beliefs, in a sense, by analogy, you change the prescription of those glasses. And therefore, perhaps you will need to squint a little bit at first to find the things you prefer within the new beliefs. But since they are new glasses, you will acclimate to them. And it is a matter of that. Now again, you do not get rid of old beliefs. It is a matter of relativity, so to speak. All beliefs are within you. However, when you choose to manifest, when you choose to embody a particular belief, it is then followed by the new background. And the new background will contain within it different relevance of the old ideas. When you choose one particular belief, the old belief is simply not relevant to the new belief. It is still within you. It is still and always will be a choice. And this is your personal power. Your ability to always have the choice. But what changes is the relative significance of the old belief. And we share that to again reinforce the idea that getting rid of something assumes there's somewhere to put it. And being that you are the universe, there is no outside, there is no place to put it. Anywhere you quote unquote put it will be within you. So it is not a matter of getting rid of it, simply shifting its relevance to you, its relativity to what you are exploring. And the glasses of the new belief simply, in a sense, filter out the relativity of the old belief. Is that clear? All right. You do not sound so sure. Perhaps we will entertain a few questions if there is, shall we say, some lack of clarity. Allow me to therefore thank you all for these interactions. Allow us in many ways to disseminate great deals of information and at the same time gather information from your society. Believe it or not, we love these interactions and we love you all unconditionally. Therefore, I ask you now, how may I be of service to you? Share it.